The internet. It gave us everything. Memes, cat videos, and in 1995, it gave teenage nerd Dexter Douglas the key to becoming Freakazoid. He's got all the strength, speed, and endurance you'd expect from a hero, but absolutely none of the sense. Freakazoid's power is so inconsistent, so unpredictable, that it rivals Superman 1 minute, then gets completely forgotten the next. That's because his real superpower is Toon Force, a chaotic blend of physical might and slapstick invulnerability. Today we're asking, how strong is Freakazoid? We're breaking down his feats in a 5-tier pop culture powered ranking. So stick with us and freak out! Our very first feat comes from the end of the first episode. This is a moment where Freakazoid's strength is outsourced to his hand, specifically to his pint-sized detachable sidekick, Handman. The Lobe scoffs, calling Handman ridiculous because he is, after all, just a tiny fist. But that tiny fist delivers a punch that turns out to be completely useless. But because this is Freakazoid, the Lobe, a character who is usually highly resilient to physical force, is launched across the room into a pile of heavy, assorted weapons. It's an insane amount of force delivered by a tiny appendage. Because it's a joke that required zero effort from our hero. This is too easy, so we are giving it a clean Tier 1. In the next one, Freakazoid is fighting the Wolfman, and honestly, he looks bored. The Wolfman takes him to the ground, and Freakazoid struggles for a second. But it's clear he's just playing. He suddenly grabs the heavy creature and throws him across the room like he's chucking a rotten tomato. The sheer force of the throw is enough to send the Wolfman crashing into a full bookcase, causing the shelves to break and sending all the books tumbling down. Since the real power comes out of nowhere with zero effort, and he's barely broke a sweat. Now, cut to Freakazoid on top of a building, getting electrocuted, smashing through windows, and falling several stories to the pavement. He lands perfectly safe, completely unfazed, without a scratch. Shrugging off massive electrical damage and a multi-story fall required absolutely no will or physical effort on his part. Ending off this tier with a purely iconic moment, Freakazoid confronts none other than Mickey Mouse. It's a huge crossover, and what does our hero do? He just walks up and picks up the iconic mouse with a pinch grip. The physical strength required is non-existent, but the fact that he can effortlessly handle a pop culture legend like a tiny toy proves this tier is all about the joke. The power here is minimal, but the comedy is maxed out. In this next tier, Freakazoid is doing some sustained hero work, but it lacks a dramatic flair. It's the kind of hero work that requires super strength, but the stakes are just bashing a bunch of generic goons. These are the quick, useful bursts of strength. Right after one of his big transformations, Freakazoid has a room full of guards to deal with. He kicks one, and instead of stopping, he just picks the poor guy up. We only see the shadows, but Freakazoid turns that guard into a human bludgeon. He swings and tosses the henchman around, using him to beat up the rest of the group. This is a sustained use of super strength, effortlessly picking up a full-grown man and wielding him like a weapon, without tiring. He literally made a guy beat up his own friends. It's an effective, almost lazy way to clear a room, which perfectly fits the mall cop energy required. In another instance, we see Freakazoid confront Arms Akimbo, and instead of a simple punch, he goes for the pro wrestling special. He grabs the villain, lifts him up, and starts spinning him around like a human tornado. He turns the entire bad guy into a dizzy, flailing weapon. I mean, think about the physics there. He's using massive sustained strength and speed to keep a heavy adult spinning at that velocity without breaking a sweat. It's definitely a guaranteed way to make your opponent immediately regret eating lunch. Now we've got Freakazoid in the middle of a chase. And what's standing between him and the armored nerdator? A solid wall of metal rods. Most heroes stop and look for a door, but Freakazoid treats it like a beaded curtain. He just jumps straight through the obstacle. Moving so fast, his momentum effortlessly bends and snaps the metal as he passes. He uses a burst of raw physical power just to keep the chase going. It's a spectacular way to open the path, but ultimately, it's just a functional move for him, obviously. Now we move up to the next tier. This is the level where Freakazoid is actually trying. Think less cartoon ragdoll and more action hero with ADHD. These are the moments he decides to actually be good at fighting for 5 seconds. Okay, this next one is a classic. You'd think being captured by Candlejack, the guy who ties people up for fun, would be a high-stakes, maximum-effort escape. But this is Freakazoid. Look at that. No struggle, no dramatic music. He just rips the rope like he's opening a gate or peeling an orange. It's so effortless it barely even counts as a feat of strength, which is exactly what makes it an amazing feat of strength. He's so powerful he doesn't even need to try. This is pure Tier 3. Back alley Street Fighter power. Enough muscle to handle the obstacle, but the delivery is peak. Unpredictable comedy. Next, we have the nonchalant rip that shows how casually powerful he is. He just rips the rope like he's opening a bag of chips. Oh, remember those guards he was swinging around in the shadows? These poor guys have to take yet another hit because Freakazoid doesn't just run away. Instead, he decides to hit the guards with a surprise Olympic gymnastics routine. He busts out a perfect executed handstand kick that simultaneously sends these two grown men into next Tuesday. This isn't random flailing. This is the strength of a lunatic who also happens to be a martial artist when the mood strikes. That effective, forceful double kick is a perfect Tier 3 back alley Street Fighter move, proving he's got the controlled strength and skill when he can be bothered to use it. Freakazoid runs a gauntlet against two tough guys, Cave Guy and Longhorn. He flies in with a single controlled kick at the two, and unfortunately, we don't get to see the rest of it. Why? According to Freakazoid, it's because he blew the animation budget on the other fight. So, on brand, this quick off-screen dismantling of a tough crew proves the fight was over before the animators could draw it. Freakazoid is furious here, and when he's mad, you get results. He walks right into the Lobes HQ, tosses two massive heavy men into the air like they're beach balls, and then just smashes through 5 solid doors consecutively. He goes through wood and drywall like it's tissue paper. This is peak back alley Street Fighter energy. This is Tier 4, Stallone shouting power. This tier is for the feats that require visible strain and determination. Whether he's tanking a brutal hit or applying brute force against a stubborn object, he needs to grunt, growl, or at least look slightly inconvenienced. This is Freakazoid pushing his limits as he zips up to fix a broken airplane. He gets under the plane and has to manipulate the jammed landing gear. He doesn't just tap it, he has to use sheer concentrated force to pry the hatch open. He's literally wrestling a giant plane part to bypass the mechanical failure. This required a clear physical commitment to overpower a massive machine. Freakazoid's durability gets a real test here. A giant heavy statue falls directly onto him. He doesn't just pop out, he has to visibly struggle and weasel his way out from underneath the crushing weight. Taking the full sustained weight of a statue and fighting his way out of it requires brute force and endurance. That commitment to overcoming a massive physical load is definitely that tier. In the same episode, Freakazoid decides the best way to fight the bull creature is not with speed, but with blunt force. He picks up a massive boulder and charges directly at the villain. This requires him to lift and run with an incredibly heavy object, showing his raw straining muscle for a high-impact attack. Another one for this level is during a Christmas shopping spree that goes wrong. Freakazoid gets a full aisle shelf dropped on him. He doesn't wait to be rescued, he simply bursts out from under the heavy wooden products. Overcoming this sudden, heavy crushing weight is a pure test of resilience and raw power. Similar to the statue, it's a strength challenge that makes it a decisive Tier 4 Stallone shouting power feat. This is it. This isn't just power. This is the moment Freakazoid gets the cosmic keys and starts driving the show off a cliff. At this stage, he isn't fighting physics. He's bullying physics. It's where his internet-granted strength becomes pure, unstoppable, random nonsense, the kind of devastation that makes you think, wait, can he do that all the time? Spoiler, yes, but only when it's funniest. This is the moment Freakazoid gets the cosmic keys and drives the show off a cliff. Tier 5, Scarface says, "Say hello to my little friend." It's god-tier Toon Force mixed with a toddler throwing a tantrum. It's total unapologetic reality warping devastation. It's the ultimate show of chaotic power. Freakazoid uses a simple rubber band as a global slingshot. He attaches the band to a henchman's head, and then, with his absurd speed, runs all the way to Tibet. Why? To apologize to a monk because he was mean to him earlier when he was in a bad mood. He crosses the entire globe just to say sorry. When he lets go, the rubber band snaps back, rocketing the guard across the planet. Look at the damage! The power lines and buildings become a massive destructive slingshot that catapults the henchman back and forth. Freakazoid just used the kinetic energy of near-instantaneous global travel to weaponize a man. That level of power is completely off the charts and is a definitive Tier 5 Scarface's say hello to my little friend moment. It's a literal demonstration of his ability to weaponize physics and Toon Force for the most ridiculous reasons. While battling a massive, terrifying dragon, yes, an actual dragon, Freakazoid gets caught in the ultimate bad guy cliché. He's swallowed whole. You think, oh no, this is the end. He's going to have to fight his way out of the stomach. But remember who we're dealing with. Instead of battling the digestive system, Freakazoid simply places his hands on the jaws from the inside and uses overwhelming brute force to pry the giant mouth open. He literally forces apart the jaws of a colossal mythical beast with his bare hands. Poor dragons, instantly regretting the life choices that led it to witness a Tier 5 moment firsthand. For our final chaotic high-end feat, Freakazoid confronts literally every villain he's ever fought all in one room. Instead of a fist fight, he grabs a giant wooden horn and decides to just play a note. He blows into that thing, generating a sonic blast so powerful it launches every single supervillain, the Lobe, Cave Guy, Longhorn, everyone clean out of the room of the building. He weaponized sound, turned a musical instrument into a cannon, and committed mass supervillain launch all at once. That level of destruction, chaos, and reality warping power is absolutely top tier, Tier 5. What a way to clear the party. Freakazoid's strength profile is completely ridiculous. He is simultaneously a Tier 1 clown and a Tier 5 reality warping demigod. His power isn't about how much he can lift, it's about how much he cares. Which is to say, not much unless it involves a really good joke. If he ever truly focused, Superman might actually have something to worry about. Don't forget to subscribe, and until next time, hooah! Zippity-doo-dah!